Now there's a bunch of different types of videos you can make on YouTube, but when it comes to using YouTube to generate leads, attract clients, or just get business for yourself, there's 7 main categories of videos I like to think about with YouTube for lead generation specifically. Now, all you're trying to do if you're using YouTube as part of your marketing strategy is to answer people's questions, give them solutions to problems they have, or break down your industry, your market, and just give them value in some capacity. So I want to talk about these 7 big types of videos that I think about when it comes to structuring videos on my channels. Pros and cons videos, problems and solutions, cost, comparisons, demonstrations, who is a good candidate, and considerations. Now that was 7. There's kind of an 8th, which you could see as its own category, which is basically answering questions, but the questions that people don't know to ask that you do as the industry expert. Now you could look at that as its own category, but what I think is easiest is to just integrate that in some way to one of the other 7 categories when you're making a new video. Now here's a hot take for you. I don't think that making a fancy commercial about your company or doing a bunch of client testimonial videos is gonna do much for you at all, unless you frame it within one of those 7 categories of videos and you make your self-promotion part of the video, but not the focus. Now let's talk about the first one, pros and cons videos. This is great and you can do this in a lot of different ways, whether you're doing a pros and cons video about the industry you're in or your specific company, or if you really narrow in on the pros and cons of using a specific service or software or product that your company offers. And here's one thing I like to do, really be honest and go hard on some of the cons. Now I know a lot of people might be scared to talk about the cons of their business. They don't want to push people away, but for me, I like to be brutally honest and upfront about some of the cons. Like, hey, yeah, we'll do a great job for you. Our service is phenomenal, but hey, it's going to take a while. It's going to be a long, ongoing process. We're pretty expensive compared to other people. You know, there's no one else like us in the market, but hey, we're expensive. It takes a while. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to have to go through our onboarding process, whatever it is. Be honest and upfront about the cons. When I'm talking to people who are interested in partnering for content marketing between their SEO or starting a YouTube channel, and they're interested in YouTube, I'm like, yeah, it's great. There's a lot of good stuff about it. But hey, look, it takes time and it takes money if you don't have time to hire editors, hire a team, and, you know, create your content strategy. And it's not fun. Like, I've been doing this for 4 years. I don't enjoy it. Making videos and sitting down to talk to the camera for 30 minutes is not fun. I can't stand it. That's why I like to batch shoot videos once a month and just knock out 5 videos at once instead of doing it, you know, once a week the entire year. I can't stand it. Now, the second category is explaining problems and solutions, whether you're the one offering them or not. So whatever the big pain points are of your clients or whoever you're trying to serve, explain it and then explain the solutions that are out there. I mean, if you're the one trying to be that solution for them, great, talk about yourself. But if there's an easier or a faster or a cheaper way to get something done, I would talk about that as well. Or hey, like if you're looking for a DIY way to fix this yourself, here's how you do that. Or here's how I would do that if I were you. If you don't want to do that, here's my company, here's what we do. That's kind of how I would think about a problems and solutions video. Now, the third type is cost. And what I mean by this is explaining why something costs the way it does. If you have a service and it's really expensive, why is it that expensive? Or if you have different options and different offerings, explain the cost, explain what they all offer and how it's going to be different if someone wants the least expensive option versus the most expensive high-end option you have. I mean, I'll give you an example of this. So I started off with content in real estate, and a lot of stuff we did was on new construction. And a big question with new construction is, hey, how much does it cost to get a new house? Well, that depends on a lot of things. Some of those videos were things like, hey, look, it depends on if you want a ranch, a 1.5 story, a 2-story house, because each of those is going to cost a different amount, with a ranch being the most expensive in terms of if everything's the same square footage, it costs more to build out than it does to build up. If you want a bigger garage, higher ceilings, upgraded kitchen, bathrooms, all that kind of stuff, this is what that's going to add to your cost, and this is why certain things cost more than others. Just an example for you. I know a lot of people who are running different types of digital agencies, and if you're in a category with a bunch of other people doing the same and your cost structure is all over the place, I would make videos and explain like, hey, look, here's what they're charging. This is the reason why. Here's what we do. This is the reason why, you know, and explain here's what you get at different price points and what you should expect at a certain budget level, depending on what you're doing. The fourth is comparisons. Now, this could be comparisons between industries, between different companies, or different ways of doing things. So for example, organic marketing versus paid ads, Instagram versus TikTok, Microsoft versus Apple. I know those are basic examples, but that's what I mean with comparisons. Whatever it is you know your customers are going to be looking at, I would explain the different ways of doing things and give really honest comparisons. If you've got a competitor, or if you know there's someone else out there that your clients are looking at in addition to you, I would make comparisons and explain to them, the pros and cons of each option. Now, the fifth type is a demonstration or some kind of tutorial on how to do something. Whether it's the actual service you're providing and you're showing how it's done, or if you're just trying to be helpful to show your core audience, who might be clients at some point, something helpful that would be relevant to them. If it's something with software, definitely show your screen and show how to do it. Like, hey, here's how to edit a video. Here's how we do graphic designs. Here's how we set up Facebook ads, stuff like that. Or if it's something that's more conceptual or some kind of process, I would explain it like you're in the audience's shoes and tell them, hey, here's how I would do this if I were you. Here's the stuff I would think about. And here are some tips that I would give you if I were going about this myself. Now, the sixth type of video I would recommend is basically explaining who is a good candidate, who is your ideal customer, who really needs your service, and who might think they do, but they don't actually need you. I would just be brutally honest. Like, hey, if you're a local SEO agency and you're talking to your customers like, hey, if you're a brick and mortar restaurant or a business, you could really benefit from having local SEO and showing up on Google Maps. But look, if you're a web developer who works from home and has clients all over the place, you don't really need to pay attention to your local SEO. Or if I'm making a video here on, best strategies for YouTube lead generation, I would say it's really good for people who are interested in organic marketing, who are patient, and they have an interest in getting better on camera. But look, if you're someone who wants results as fast as possible and you don't like being on camera, probably not a good fit for you. Just be honest and upfront about who you can really help out and who doesn't really need you, but they think they might. Now, the seventh category is considerations. What should someone consider who is exploring options, whether it's your company or a competitor or some other type of solution? What should someone think about? What are the questions they should be asking to make the best decision? Like, what are the different types of marketing agencies? How do you pick the right one? What are questions you should ask during an interview? Or hey, if you're looking at setting up local shops somewhere in town, look, how do you pick the right area? Which is the best neighborhood for you? How do you narrow in on what the right fit is for your business personally? I would basically just walk people through the considerations they should think about and explain how to navigate the process and how to think about it. And if you're the one who can offer a great solution for that, like if someone's looking for a marketing agency and you're offering exactly what they need, then great, tell them how they should think about going through that process. But if not, I would explain considerations for finding a different solution or working around the problem and doing it themselves. So that's 7 categories. Now, like I said, the 8th one, you could look at it as its own category, but I would really just put it in with one of the other 7, probably considerations, and that is answering the questions that people don't know to ask, or basically telling people the questions they should be asking when they're going through the process, when they're looking at different companies or interviewing someone to help them with their problem. Whether they are an ideal client for you or they're not, I would explain the nuance and the details of your industry that you know because you're the expert, but that people don't always know to ask. If you see common misconceptions with customers you work with, or if you know that there is some kind of misguided belief out there about what you do or what else is out there, I would explain that. I would answer the questions and basically tell people, hey, look, I know a lot of people think this about our industry, but you should ask yourself this instead and think about it this way, because that's what actually happens behind the scene. And honestly, with all of these types of videos, I would try my best to just explain as much detail and give examples whenever possible, because here's the thing, I know that a lot of the time the answer to a customer's question is going to be, it depends, right? And that's not a very helpful answer. So instead of saying it depends, make videos explaining what it depends on. Like if there are different ways of doing something, or if it depends on someone's time frame or someone's budget or someone's preference on how they go about doing something, explain that in your videos, whether it's a pros and cons, if it's a demonstration video, or if it's some kind of considerations video. Explain the nuance and the details that you know about as the industry expert that customers and clients don't always think about. Now, here's the thing. Out of these 7 categories, I'm not trying to tell you that you should make every single video for every single category every single month. No. And honestly, some of these probably don't apply to you as a creator. So I would recommend find 3 or 4 that make sense for you, that resonate, like, oh yeah, I could think of some videos to do on that. And then from there, go about planning your 10 to 15 first videos before you start your channel. That way you at least have some kind of roadmap for where you're going. That's just my preference. I like to batch shoot my content and work way ahead. That way I can schedule out for weeks in advance and not have to worry about shooting a video every single week for the channel. Because if you can make 5 different pros and cons videos and 5 different considerations videos without getting repetitive and redundant, why not go for that? So those are just the 7 types of videos I like to think about personally, especially for generating business off YouTube. I hope this was helpful. If you have any thoughts or feedback, just shoot me an email. Would love to talk. Aside from that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.